welcome to a new episode of Human Design Hotline, where I guide you to answer the call within. And today we have a beautiful question from Sophia, and Sophia's question is around abundance and feeling blocked from actually receiving abundance in her business and in other parts of her life. Now, the first thing I want to remind you about abundance is abundance does not discriminate. So if you feel like you are not open to financial abundance, you may also feel like you're not open to an abundance in your love life as well, because it's all about that energy of receiving. And today I'm going to unpack how this shows up in her human design chart and some other ways that you can implement more abundance and openness to receiving in your own life. So let's Sophia's question. Hi Abby, I guess I'm looking to guidance on unraveling my blockage around receiving more abundance in my life. I've been a yoga teacher and women's empowerment coach for 4 years now and feel as though I'm in a pivotal stage of my life with so much I want to share with the world. Along with women's circles, weekly classes, and a podcast show, I can't seem to engage with my audience. I receive crickets with my newsletters, podcast, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, etc. As I am trying to make a living from my passion, I find myself in an interesting dynamic where my passion pulls me to create every single day content to put out there, yet there is also this drive to become self-sufficient and independent. Open to your thoughts on the blocks. So there's a couple of things I want to say about this. There's many things, there's many layers that we can unpack here. When it comes to receiving, because what this is actually backed up with, this question, I ask another question in my questionnaire, and it's, is there anything else you wish to add? And Sophia says, my deepest fear is being seen, yet my deepest desire is to be fully seen and accepted in my raw, authentic expression, which makes a lot of sense because when I look at Sophia's human design chart, her sun gate is in gate number 1. So gate 1 is all about the individual, it's all about the self, it is all about stepping in to who you are, like standing out in a way. And her whole chart actually has a lot of these energies of stepping into leadership, of really owning her voice and letting herself be heard. And so I can see where there is this sort of dynamic, there is this push and pull between, okay, like I know I have that power, I know I have that capacity, but like what is it that's holding me back? Why am I in this self-protection mode? And this is what I want to look at, because when it comes to this particular question, you know, you've backed your question up, you've asked the question, why am I not open to receiving? Why am I showing up online and showing up in my business and I'm just hearing crickets? And you've backed that up with my deepest fear is to be seen. So do you see the contradiction there? It's like you are asking one question, but you're like, but I know that my deepest fear is to be seen. Now my question to you is, why is it that you fear being seen? This is, sometimes we can identify sort of like the effect, right? We can identify the cause and effect, but what is the core reason behind that cause? Like, what is it? And how can we peel it back and start to unravel it, right? And so there's a couple of things I want to say, because you also go on to say, my heart longs for deep, intimate connection with another, yet I've held an armor around my heart, which makes it hard for anyone to come in and love me. So if this is a thought that you have, or if this is something you believe about yourself, you know, anything we believe to be true about ourselves is. So it's kind of like, in a sense, you have to start training yourself to believe the opposite, you know? And this is not only going to show up in relationships, it's going to show up in your ability to receive more abundance, more money, that kind of thing, right? So let's look at your human design chart. So Sophia is a 2-4 manifesting generator. The first thing I thought when I received this question was the heart center. What is her heart center saying? Because the heart center in human design, and this is this little triangle to the right of your chart, this center, it is all about worthiness. It is our space for receiving value, more value. And what is very, very interesting is 80% of us have this undefined. So there is this natural inclination when we have this undefined to really like question our worth sometimes. Am I worth this? So am I worth the love that I am receiving in this relationship? And let me tell you, if you don't feel worthy of that, what you are going to do is you are going to overgive. You are going to overpour into that cup, you know? And that is like almost like a way of you proving yourself, proving that you're worthy of that love, that connection, that abundance, right? It's the same with money. So have a look at like where you are overgiving in that sense. But what I also kind of feel, because for Sophia, this heart center is completely open. So there is almost like this exposure to the world when it comes to the heart center. And so really like unpacking your relationship to worthiness is going to be very important to unlocking that ability to receive, to open up. You've got to like almost like, I don't know, I almost want to say like, are there any things that have happened in your life that have caused you to sort of go into like that protective mode when it comes to your heart, you know? Because if you are, like you said, you've got this armor around your heart, it's like, okay, but so nothing can get in. If nothing can get in, there's no flow, you know? And what does money and abundance like to do? It likes to flow, you know? And so there needs to be it's currency, you know? We need to create a current. And so with this heart center, what I would say, and with this relationship to receiving, it's going to be really, really important for you to connect with this heart center. So connect with knowing your worth. You really need to connect with your worth. And this shows up on a personal level, but it also shows up in your business. It shows up in what you're receiving in terms of social media, or, you know, connecting with your audience. Are you, when you are connecting with your audience, are you showing them the real you? Are you sharing your journey? Because what Sophia talks about is how she is an empowerment coach, and how she really wants to empower women, and she works in this space of, you know, really helping people, right? And so something that is important when it comes to this, because she also shared a lot of very personal things in her question that is not my story to tell, but what I find with that is, are you sharing that? Are you owning those experiences? Are you allowing yourself to express from that place? Because there's often, especially in this, you know, sort of spiritual and coaching industry, there is this thought process that when we are showing up, we have to show up in perfection. I have to be done in order for you to want to work with me. No, it's like when you are in a space, so when you are in that space where you've done so much work on yourself and you're here, you are going to attract people that you help raise up. And so it's like this, it works in levels. And so you don't have to be perfect, but you have to allow yourself to tell the story that you have been through, to talk about where you have come from and how you've got to where you are now. And so what I want to say is, even though, and this is a very common thing with manifesting generators, because we're a million miles an hour and we sort of see it as like, I want to be at this result, but there's always going to be another result to be at. So it's like understanding that where you are right now is absolutely enough to help and serve the people that are ready to work with you. So this is like a worthiness thing that you have to almost like program inside your brain. Now, some other things that I noticed when it comes to your chart, so, you know, these fears of being seen for you, I would really, where I feel they come from is this energy of self-doubt. And, you know, it's this energy of like, I'm not quite done yet. I'm not there yet. So how can I possibly step into this role of leadership and into this role of authority and empowerment? How can I do that for others when I'm not fully there yet? Listen, we're never all going to be there, but you're going to be there and be enough for those who are ready to step up with you, you know? And so this is how you have to reframe it. Now, now there's two gates that you have that I'm kind of like drawn to when it comes to these questions. So the first one is gate 48 and the second one is gate 50. I was drawn to them immediately, and then I look at exactly where they are in your chart, and they are in Jupiter. So this is your planet of abundance. So there's a correlation here. Now, gate 48, the fear of this is the fear of not knowing enough. Like okay, like, so are you putting yourself in positions in your business, in your work, where someone might ask you a question, you might not know the answer? Is that something that you're deeply worried about, that you don't know enough yet, that you're not enough, that you haven't been through enough yet? This is a question that you have to ask yourself. And what's important to realize when it comes to living your design, again, like we're not going to be, I'm not done. But I love that I'm not done. This is part of the journey. But you've got to understand that those things that come into your field, you have, and they feel good to you. Like your authority is like a full-bodied, like, yes, I'm excited by this. When that happens, you've got to understand you have more than enough depth, and you have more than enough to give to that. You have the right tools, you have the right information, and you're able to step into your power in that situation. You've just always got to know this. I have gate 48 too, and this was something that I healed kind of earlier on in my journey, and especially when it comes to, so you think about like how that can correlate with the client's side of things. So it's kind of like, okay, from a client perspective, do you feel like you know enough in order to be in that place of service, or are you questioning yourself and doubting yourself here? It can also show up in the content that you're sharing. Okay, like, do I know enough? What if I get a question on this and I don't know how to answer it? You know, so what that can lead us to do is to actually share things from the surface level, when actually gate 48 is about depth. It's called the well for a reason. You have so much that you have to pull out, and that's why one of your, you know, sort of starting sentences was, I have so much to share. It's like, it's that, like, let yourself bring it out. I know as well, for you as a line 2, it can be this sort of this feeling of I'm not ready, I don't know enough yet. It's also like the same, and so that can hold us back from actually stepping into our voice in a bigger way, and really like letting ourselves almost, like, I want to say, explore the edge. Like, let yourself like share things you feel called to, but you know, that kind of scare you in a little bit. Like, jump into the unknown when it comes to this. And then gate 50. So gate 50, the fear associated with this is the fear of responsibility. And something, again, like, I don't want us to overly fixate and focus on the fears, because actually with these gates, they have something really beautiful to bring, right? 48, it has a lot of depth. It has so much to give. Gate 50, it does have that fear of responsibility, but it also has that ability to almost guide people and be that mentor, for people standing on their own 2 feet, and, you know, really being independent and being able to heal themselves if that's what your work calls for. Being able to step into their own power, right? But there's that sort of like the edge, right? It's like about finding that balance, because gate 50, it has like this fear of, am I gonna measure up? Am I gonna be able to do it? You know, you have to just know, have you done it for yourself? from what you shared, there is so much that you have done for yourself. And so you have to believe, if I can do it for myself, I can give and do it and show up for others. I feel like a lot of this blockage around abundance for you is literally coming from self-doubt. It's coming from almost, I don't know if I'm there yet. And you've got to understand, and this is the beauty of 48, 48, it's constantly collecting like unconscious depth. So, for me, I have gate 48, and sometimes I find like I will pull things up and I'm like, I don't even know where I got that from, but it's something I've collected over time. So you've got to allow yourself to really trust that process there. And what I want to say is, there's so much I want to say, but something I want to say is you do have so much capacity to share, so much capacity to step into that leadership role and empower others. There's a reason that you're on this path. There's a reason that you can almost like taste this pivotal moment, because it's coming. But you've got to step into that. You've got to own that. And how do you own that? You believe it's already there. You believe it's already happening. So let's look at all of these energies that make you so powerful in this space. You've got gate 34. Gate 34 is literally the energy of empowerment. But how do you step into that? What empowered you? What made you step into your own power? And how can you step into it more? Because this is like, it's a very like personal energy, 34. It's like, it's not something that you kind of like consciously project outwards. It's like, it's something you just are and you just embody. And this is so magnetic. It's like people feel that and they're kind of like, okay, like, what's she drinking? Because I want to drink it too. And this is the energy you've got to step into. So how can you communicate that embodiment more? How can you tell your story more? You have gate 13. This is all about wisdom. Gate 13, well, you have the channel 13 to 33. It's about telling your story. It's about like it's literally about you creating wisdom through your experiences or the experiences that you've been around and heard about through other people. You have this way of really creating these reflections and being able to share that wisdom. So, okay, talk about your stories that you've shared with me in your question that I feel could really help a lot of other people. But potentially, I don't know this, but this is just my intuition speaking, but potentially you're not sharing those because it takes away from that perfect image of being a guide, being a coach, being in this industry. And let me tell you, the more authentic you are, the more authentic your success is going to be, and the more clients you're going to attract that you are going to be more than worthy of helping, and you're going to really, really help a lot. So thank you for joining me for today's episode of Human Design Hotline, and I hope this helped you understand more of the blocks and your own connection to abundance. If you're ready to understand and dive more into your own chart, you can click the link below and order your forever human design reading. This literally is the most amazing thing I've ever created, and I love to share this with you. So I'm sending you lots of love, and yeah, see you next week.